Hello YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Firstly, Happy New Year to all. Today is the first day of 2024. It is the 1st of January 2024 and it's a Monday. So yes, Happy New Year to everybody. And I really hope 2024 was a brilliant year for one and all of you out there. My plans for this year is I'm hoping to actually get the layout out on the exhibition circuit. I know some of you might be thinking, crikey, finished partway's not ready, but I have another plan. As and when stuff goes ahead with that, what I do is I'll keep you posted. And I don't want to say anything too much yet, just in case it doesn't come to fruition, but it's looking good at this stage. So I'm hoping that maybe come sort of middle of this year or towards the end of this year, I can actually be out on the circuit with my own layout. I've got a few plans that I need to go and speak to a few people, but we'll see what happens as the year progresses. Currently, the only show that I'm going to that I know about this year is York Racecourse, and I'm there with Sanford, and that is over Easter. So that'll be the Easter weekend at York Racecourse. So again, if anyone wants to come see me, I'll be with Sanford and Banwell, and just come along and say hello. Today's video then is going to be about the new Rapido OAA. As always, I'm not going to do an unboxing because there's other people on the channel that have done a far better job than me, but it did come in a box and the box is gone. So the only little issue that I personally found with this wagon was one of these wheels was dropping out. So what I did, I got myself a piece of micro strip, piece of evergreen micro strip, like there's no specific size but it's tiny, and I cut a really tiny short piece off and I've stuck it above the axle in there. I've left it white, so hopefully you might just be able to see that on the camera. Just in there. Don't even know if that shows up. If I take the wheel out. You can probably just see that little bit of white in there. By the time that's painted black, you're never ever going to know it's in there, and it prevents that wheel from dropping out. Technically, whether or not you should actually be doing that to a brand new wagon is of course a completely different scenario, but I didn't want to have to go around and send this wagon back just because of a minor thing like that, because they are wonderful wagons. And by the time you spent the money on a P&P just to do a quick repair, it's not worth it. To me at least. This is today's colour palette. I'm just going to mix a few colours up, nothing specific, just sort of going to get to some colours that I think I like. So now I've got my gloopy mix of colours. What I'll do is I'm just going to mix them together, sort of looking for the consistency sort of wood. Mess. And I think that looks better just after just a few seconds. Then sometimes what you get is you get some lighter boards and stuff inside, so I'm trying to, that's quite sort of the same if you like, so I need to be able to break that pattern up a little bit. So I've just got some of the grey and I'm just going to wet blend that in. Obviously what I'm not looking for is it to go like that either, so I shall just add a bit more other colours just to try and blend that again, and I should just continue to blend it until I'm happy with it. And then once I'd got that looking something similar or something like what I wanted it to look like, I just got some of my chalks and just added it. This is all done wet. Sometimes you don't want to be afraid to use some different things. And again, I'm just going to blend that in a little bit. I'm not necessarily looking to do the sides or top at the minute. I've done a little bit more work off screen, but I don't know how well that picks that up, but that's a nice colour mix in there. There's a fair few colours going on, and by the time that dries, that should actually not look too bad. I mean, if I need to go over it a little bit more chalk once it's dried, I will do, but I'm quite pleased with that. You're looking for something that is kind of messy but not over the top, and just to add a spice of colour and bits and pieces. Almost seems a shame to load them. By the time they dry, they don't look too bad at all. This is one that is dry and pretty much done the same way. Obviously, it all depends what you like, but I think that looks pretty good. So whilst I have a messy colour palette, let's carry on. So I'm going to give that wagon time to dry. That will probably take 48 hours, if not more than that, to dry, because oils aren't the quickest to dry. So this was a wagon I'd started last week. So that was one side. Again, what I was looking at doing with these wagons was not chronically over weathering them, just to get a wash on them of some description or another. That was the end. That's the other end, and that side I've not touched yet because I needed to let it dry before I could start putting my paws on it to hold it. And again, inside I've just gone through and done a similar sort of thing again, just to vary the colour palette up inside it. So it's time to do this side. As I say, again, I'm not looking at plastering it beyond recognition. I just really want to put a light wash over it just to sort of tone down sort of the colours, that's all. So this looks something similar to the other side. So I'm going to use the same colour palette as I have for this, and I'm going to just change the technique slightly. So first things first, just going to get just a quick general sort of splurge over it, over the whole wagon. Oh, by the way, we're not doing the underframe at the moment. I'm going to leave that and do that with the airbrush. So basically now that looks absolutely horrible. So I'm now going to get a completely dry brush and take most of that back off. So this brush here is almost clean, and I'm just going to go through and take most of that back off. As you can see, what that's done, is that's just toned that grey down, just toned it down a little bit. I'm still not totally happy with that, but that's kind of the effect I'm looking for. I'm not looking so overdoing these wagons or spending years and years on them, so I just really just after sort of just toning them down a little bit. So there's your start of toning down. I'm going to take another brush now, which is kind of my bristle brush, and I'm just going to go over it again. So again, that's just tone that down once more. So now all I'm really going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of colour or a little bit more dirt where you've got like the frames, where the door bangs or where the door joints are, and bits and pieces like that, and then I'm going to leave it. That'll be it done. You can see now that the dirt is starting to build up in around the sort of the doors, where the doors open and close, which is where you'd expect to see it, and along the wagon where you get a lot more wash and stuff, it's a lot cleaner. So I'm just going to use my fan brush, and I'm just going to go through and just sort of give that one more quick blend, and then we're getting towards as much as what I want to do. And I was very careful, I didn't go over where I'd put it sort of a little bit thicker for where the joints were. I've just gone over the sides of the wagon. So just one more obligatory bit of white spillage down the side, and then I'm going to call that it. We'll let this wagon dry. I reckon that should just about take care of that. So by the time that dries, I reckon that won't look too bad. If I need to give it another little bit of a scrub, I will, but I think that'll do. I've also made the white sort of just go inside a little bit, as if something has spilt on it from the top. By the time that dries, that will blend in just a little bit better. So the next thing to do was to work out what I needed to do for loads for the wagons. So again, going back to thinking about the new layout, or thinking about the exhibition layout, I should say, one of the things that will represent is some kind of MOD depot, or MOD overspill sidings of some description or another. There's a little hint for you. So the appropriate thing to load onto these wagons was something to do with the MOD. Now, some time back, I actually got these field guns. Now, I'm not a military person, and I really don't know one end of a gun from the other. In fact, when I looked at the kit, I originally thought to myself I didn't understand why there was 2 barrels, but when I built the kit, I realised that there were 2 different lengths. Again, that doesn't mean a lot to me, but so one of the guns ended up with a shorter one and one ended up with a longer one, but I didn't realise that until I put them side by side and thought, oh, one's longer. Also, these guns have been built more to represent a load than what they have been perfect, so I'd probably say that if you was in the battlefield and these 2 guns arrived, you'd definitely not want to be firing them, but that's a whole nother story. But what I did do was boiled out the end of the barrel, because I thought at least that looked prototypical, although again, once they're loaded you probably won't see it. So here we go for phase 2. Now, if you're any sort of AIRFIX modeler, or even you've ever touched a kit, you might want to fast forward this bit, because this is well, incompetence at its best. But I did at least get them built, and I don't think they look too bad, and by the time they've gone in the back of a wagon, they looked alright, so I was quite happy with them. So here we go for phase 2.